Your aging father is carrying fears he will almost certainly never say out loud, and they are not the ones you would guess. Not falling, not the doctor. Something quieter and much deeper. Today I'll tell you what your father is most afraid of, the things he hides behind "I'm fine," so that you can gently ease them while he is still here. If you have an aging parent, subscribe. This channel is about understanding the people who raised us. To understand this, you have to understand the kind of man your father most likely is. He comes from a generation that was taught from the time he was a small boy that a man does not show fear, that you keep it to yourself, that your job is to be the steady one, the strong one, the one who carries the worry so that nobody else has to. For his entire life, he has been the person other people leaned on, and that does not simply switch off because he has grown old. So even now, when the fears have started to gather, he does the only thing he has ever known how to do with them. He hides them. And he does it for a reason that will break your heart a little when you understand it. He is protecting you. He does not want his fear to become your burden. He would rather carry it alone, in the quiet of an empty kitchen late at night, than let it touch your life for even a moment. That is what he has always done. That is what being a father has always meant to him. But he is not always fine.
And the fears he is hiding are not the small, practical ones you might assume. They are deep, and they are quiet, and they live in him in the long hours when no one is around to see. So let's walk through them, gently, one at a time, from the ones near the surface all the way down to the one that frightens him most of all. Because once you understand what your father is truly afraid of, you hold the power to ease nearly every one of them. The first fear is the one that sits closest to the surface, and it is the fear of becoming a burden to you. This one runs deeper in him than you can probably imagine. For decades, he was the provider. He was the one who fixed things, who paid for things, who showed up when you needed help and asked for nothing in return. His entire sense of himself as a father is built on the idea that he gives to you, not the other way around. And so the slow reversal of that, as he ages, terrifies him. The first time he has to ask you to drive him somewhere, the first time he needs help with something he used to do without a second thought, a small alarm goes off inside him. He starts to do the math on every single request. He wonders if he is becoming too much. He hesitates before he calls you, worried that he is interrupting your busy life, that he has become one more thing on your already long list.
Sometimes he rehearses what he wants to say before he dials, waiting for what he imagines is a good time, and then talks himself out of it entirely and sets the phone back down. He will tell you he doesn't need help when he does. He will downplay an ache, a worry, a struggle, so that you won't fret over him. He would, quite honestly, rather go without than feel like he is a weight you have to carry. Those are not just polite phrases. They are the sound of a man who is quietly terrified that the people he loves most now see him as a problem to be managed, instead of a father to be loved. And what he needs, more than almost anything, is for you to show him, not just tell him, but show him in how you act, that helping him is not a burden at all, that it is, in fact, a privilege, that it is simply his turn to be taken care of, after a lifetime of taking care of everyone else. Beneath that lives a second fear, and it is the fear of losing his independence, of slowly losing control over his own life. There is a particular kind of dread that comes with feeling your own world get smaller. The day he can no longer drive is, for many men of his generation, one of the darkest days of their later life. Not because of the car, but because of what the car represented. Freedom, capability, the ability to go where he wants, when he wants, to be the master of his own days. Handing over those keys can feel like handing over a piece of himself. And every piece of independence he loses after that feels like a piece of his dignity going with it. He is afraid of the day he can no longer manage his own home. He is afraid of being told what he can and cannot do, of being talked about as if he weren't in the room, of decisions about his life being made over his head, however lovingly. There are few things that wound an older man more quietly than being discussed in the third person while he sits right there. He can't really manage the stairs anymore. We should probably take that away from him.
as though he had already left the room, or the conversation, or the world. And it is not only the big losses that frighten him, it is the small, daily erosions. The world that once was as wide as a city slowly narrows to a single house, and then to a few familiar rooms. The things he was once relied upon for, the repairs, the advice, the heavy lifting, quietly get handed to someone else. He misses being useful. He misses being the one who is needed rather than the one who needs. And every time he has to ask permission for something he once did freely, a little more of that old, capable man seems to slip out of his reach. He has been a grown, capable man for 60, 70 years, and the thought of being treated like a child again, of having his autonomy taken away one small piece at a time, frightens him to his core. So he holds on.
He insists on doing things himself, slowly, the long way, long after it would be easier to let someone help, because each thing he can still do for himself is proof that he is still himself. What he needs from you here is patience and respect, to be included in the decisions about his own life, to be allowed to do the things he still can do, even when it would be faster for you to just do them yourself, to be treated always as the capable man he still is on the inside, no matter what his body is doing on the outside. If any of this is starting to sound like your own father, if you're recognizing him in these words, then keep watching, because the deeper fears are the ones that matter most and the ones you can do the most about. There's a third fear, and it is quieter and lonelier than the first two. It is the fear of slowly becoming invisible, of being forgotten while he is still right here. As a man ages, he can begin to feel the world quietly moving on without him. He worked for decades, and now no one asks his opinion. He had a role, a purpose, a place where he mattered, and one by one those things have fallen away. The phone rings less, the invitations come less often. The people who once filled his life have moved away or passed away. The calendar that used to be full of plans now has long, empty stretches with nothing written in them at all.
He notices at family gatherings that the conversation moves fast and rarely waits for him, that his stories get politely cut short, that his opinion is asked for less and less, that he can sit at the very center of his own family's table and somehow still feel like a guest in it. And in that growing quiet, a terrible thought can begin to take hold, that he has already started to fade from the world while he is still living in it, that he is becoming a kind of ghost in his own life, present but somehow no longer counted. He is afraid that to his own family he has become background furniture, someone you love in a vague and distant way but rarely really see. He is afraid that his stories, his memories, the whole long life he lived, will simply vanish because no one ever asked to hear them. There may be whole chapters of his life you have never heard, the job he was proud of, the friend he lost, the version of himself he was long before he was ever your father. He would love nothing more than to tell you, but he will not push it on you uninvited because he is afraid of boring you, afraid of being the old man who repeats himself. So the stories wait, quietly hoping to be asked for. And every year that passes with no one asking, a little more of his life sinks out of reach, into a place from which it can never be recovered once he is gone.
This is why it means so much to him when you ask about his past, when you genuinely want to know what he thinks, when you make him feel like his life still has weight and meaning to the people around him. The fear of being forgotten while still alive is one of the loneliest fears there is, and you hold the cure for it, simply by seeing him, by making sure he knows, again and again, that he is not fading, that he still matters, that he is still very much a part of your life, and not a memory you are slowly setting aside. The fourth fear is one he would never ever speak aloud, because it cuts straight to the heart of who he is. It is the fear that he failed you, that somewhere along the way he got it wrong as a father. Your father carries a private ledger that you have never seen, and on it he has written down every mistake he believes he made raising you. The times he was too hard, the times he wasn't there, the words he said in anger, or the words he never managed to say at all, the game he missed because of work, the night he lost his temper over something small, the affection he held back, not because he didn't feel it, but because his own father never showed him how, and so he never quite learned the shape of the words. He remembers things you have long since forgiven or forgotten entirely, and he turns them over in the quiet, wondering if they left marks on you that never healed.
Sometimes when he looks at you, he is secretly searching your face for the old hurt, hoping he won't find it there. He notices when you flinch or go quiet or change the subject, and he quietly wonders if it was something he did long ago. He replays old arguments late at night and rewrites them in his head, saying the kinder thing this time. He would give almost anything simply to know that the mistakes he can still remember did not cost him the one relationship he treasures most. But in his lowest moments, he is afraid that he hurt you, that he wasn't the father you deserved, that you carry quiet wounds because of him. He may even want to apologize for something specific that has sat on his conscience for years, but he doesn't know how to begin, and so the words stay locked away. Many older men live with a quiet, aching regret about their parenting that they will carry all the way to the grave without ever once mentioning it, because to say it out loud would mean admitting the fear that they failed at the single most important job of their life. What he longs for, without ever being able to ask for it, is some sign that he did okay, that despite his mistakes, he was a good father, that you turned out all right, and that he was a part of why. You cannot imagine what it would do for him to simply hear you say it. And beneath all of them lies the deepest fear, the one at the very bottom, the one that all the others are really branches of.
It is the fear of the last goodbye, of running out of time before the most important things have been said. Your father knows, in a way that you are perhaps still able to avoid knowing, that his time is finite and growing shorter. And what frightens him most is not death itself, it is the thought of leaving with things unsaid. He is afraid that he will never quite find the words to tell you how much he loves you, because he was never taught how to say it, and the words have stuck in his throat his whole life, and now he fears he has left it too late. He carries sentences he has wanted to say to you for years, about how proud he is, about what you mean to him, about the day you were born, and every time the moment comes, something in him closes up, and the moment passes, and the words go back into the silence where they have always lived. He imagines sometimes the conversation he wishes he could have, the one where he finally tells you everything, plainly, without his voice catching. But the imagined version is always braver than the real man in the real moment, and so it stays imagined, a letter written 100 times in his mind and never once sent. He is afraid that one of the ordinary goodbyes the two of you share will turn out to have been the last one, and that neither of you will have known it, and that it will have been rushed or cool or unfinished. A quick wave at the door instead of the embrace he wishes he had given.
He is afraid that after he is gone, you will not truly know how proud of you he was, how much you meant to him, how often he thought of you when you weren't there. And there is one more piece to this deepest fear, quieter than all the rest. He is afraid of being forgotten after he is gone, that in time his face will blur, his voice will fade, and the world will close over the space where he used to be, as if he had never been here at all. This is the fear that sits underneath everything else, the fear of running out of time, the fear of the love that was felt every single day but somehow never said. And it is the most important one for you to understand, because it is the one you still have the power to do something about, right now, today, while he is still here to hear you. So what do you do with all of this? You might be feeling the weight of it, and perhaps a little ache of recognition, seeing your own father somewhere in these words. But here is the hopeful truth, and it is the reason I wanted you to understand his fears in the first place. Nearly every single one of them has the same simple answer. He is afraid of being a burden, so show him that caring for him is a privilege, not a chore. He is afraid of losing his dignity, so treat him, always, as the capable man he still is. He is afraid of becoming invisible, so see him, ask about his life, make him feel that he still matters. He is afraid he failed you, so tell him that he didn't, that he was a good father, that you turned out okay because of him. And he is afraid of running out of time with the most important things unsaid. So say them.
Don't wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment never quite comes. It has to be made. Say them now while he is here, in whatever clumsy, imperfect words you can manage. You do not have to fix everything. You simply have to let him know before it is too late that he is loved, that he mattered, and that he will never, ever be forgotten. So here is what I'm asking you to do today. Pick up the phone or get in the car and go see your father, and tell him one of the things he is so afraid he will never hear. You may just lift a fear he has carried silently for years. If this helped you understand your father a little better, take a moment to subscribe and share it with someone whose father is still here. And then go and tell him, while there is still time to say it and still time for him to hear it.